Welcome to the show, everyone. You know what? Tomorrow is my 18th year being on this show, and I cannot believe that I've been around this long. I'm so excited about networking with everybody out there. We're live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to share the show later on. My first guest, well, they've been with me here one time before, but I have with me a newbie. I have with me Kendal McElfish, and she's an attorney with Zecca Ross Law Firm. Welcome to the show. And I want you to tell everybody first a little bit about, yourself and what you do, but also what we're going to talk about today. Listen up, everyone, because a lot of people need this.
Yeah, of course. So I am an attorney, like you said, with Zecca Ross Law Firm. Our law firm as a whole focuses on business, corporate, and tax matters for all of businesses. We are in California, Arizona, and our senior partner is also licensed in Brazil, so we cover quite a broad scope of geographic areas. My practice is focused on contracts, compliance, and trademark registrations. So those are the three areas that I mostly practice in.
And today you want to talk a little bit about trademarks.
Correct.
Okay, so do I. I love talking about trademarks and how important it is for people to have them. So first of all, and maybe people don't know, what is a trademark and why does it matter for a small business, and I'm going to add this in there, or any business, let's say, to have one?
Yeah, trademarks are really important, and I think for small businesses they're undervalued. You think of a trademark when you think of Amazon or Apple or Colgate, right? But you don't really think about it as much with your mom and pop stores. But they're still really valuable because anytime you're building a business, you're building up a brand, you're building up a reputation, right? And so if you have anybody that tries to use your slogan or your logo, they can steal that goodwill from you, right? And you don't have control over the types of services that they provide or the quality of goods that they provide. So if you think about, if somebody else tried to use the Pulse of Arizona and provided lower quality content, you wouldn't be too happy about that, right?
No, not at all.
Correct. So every business needs some kind of trademark protection.
And again, the protection part about it is so important. Anyone who is, maybe you've just starting up a business. You said you like to work a lot with startups and small companies, but I asked you before you came on, and this is where I start asking questions of my own, if that's okay with you. And that is, but there's a lot of people out there that, let's say, have been in business even for a while, but have not done that. Can they still do it? Is it ever too late?
It is never too late. You can always file for trademark protections at the state or federal level. What is important about that is, and why we would encourage business owners to do it sooner rather than later, is that you don't want to build a brand that is actually infringing on somebody else by mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe your slogan you're using here in Phoenix, you try to register with the Arizona Secretary of State, but somebody already has it for Tucson, right? And that's an infringement. So the sooner you register, the better, because you want to build your business in a legally compliant way. You don't get hit with a cease and desist, but it's never too late to come back and say, oh, I want to do that now. Let's protect my business now, moving forward, protect the goodwill that I've built all these years, decades, and just make sure that we can move forward on the right foot.
Anybody who's starting a business, the best thing to do is to have that consultation. And so, and having somebody who's an attorney who thinks for you, that's the other thing, You're out to protect your client and make sure that there's no problems that come down, as well, hopefully, no problems that could come down in the future. So she does free consultations. They're rated with the Better Business Bureau, and the website is ZeccaRoss.com. The phone number is 619-782-0186. They have several locations: Phoenix, they have Glendale, they even have San Diego. So, wherever you are, maybe it's you, maybe it's someone that you know, and you're listening to this, that's what networking is all about. Tell them about it, because, let's say somebody that's just starting off a new business, they need to kind of make sure that they have these ducks in a row, because it's super important, especially the next one that's coming up, which I want to talk about, which is having an LLC, a corporation name, or a domain, sufficient protection?
It's not. They're different things. So you can register for your LLC, your corporation, or even a DBA, doing business as, in the state of Arizona with the Corporations Commission. But the trademark is different, so they're not, it doesn't automatically give you trademark protections. And what that difference provides is, When you have a registered trademark, you have a legally enforceable right, exclusive right to use the trademark, where you don't get that exclusive right with just an LLC, a corporation, DBA, or a domain name. Also, if you're dealing with, and this is something that, you know, we've dealt with several times, is, you know, we have somebody that registers their LLC, but then there's somebody squatting on the domain name, which means that they're
Squatters.
yeah, so it means that, you know, they own the domain name, but they're not actually using it, right? And it's really hard to find out who those people are, who actually owns it. Having the registered trademark is actually the first step in getting that domain name for your own use.
Why is it important to go to an attorney to do this? Because they can say, I can go to Google, or I can go to, you know, Dr. Google. Of course, everybody knows that they know the
ChatGPT is
answer.
big right now,
Yeah.
absolutely. So Google's a great first step, I'm not gonna knock it, right? There's a lot of research out there, there's a lot of law firms that write blog posts to help people out. All of us business lawyers wanna do is we wanna help you grow successfully, and we wanna mitigate your risks, right? So there is a lot of information out there. The thing about what we can do is we can do it quickly and efficiently. We know the steps to take, right? Where it's your first time dealing with something, filing or trying to get your domain name, or somebody's infringing on your mark and you don't know what to do. Where it's the first time you've done it, it's the 100th time we've done it, right? And I think for business owners, we have a lot of clients who they're completely capable of doing these things on their own, but you guys are business owners, you're busy, right? This is our wheelhouse. You take care of what you take care of, you run your business, you manage your employees, let us take something off of your plate.
They do free consultations. Their phone number again is 619-782-0186. The website is ZeccaRoss.com. And you know, what's really cool about this company is that they are all woman ran and owned, and that's kind of nice to know. A lot of women like that. And they have several locations, and they do free consultations. We're going to go to a break soon, and what I want to do is talk further about some of these different things, because I mean, if you want to talk about what the difference between registering a trademark with the Arizona Secretary of State and the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, that goes into a long kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is first go to a break, and when we come back I want to talk further about that. But I do want to ask you, with an LLC, you know, because some people don't even do that,
Yeah, correct.
right?
Mhm.
Can you help them with, at the start with, you know, beginning with that as well?
Oh, absolutely. Entity formation is where it all starts.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, good. I wanted them to hear that from you. Because there are a lot of people that when you start a business, you don't even think about that, right?
Yeah.
But they are very important. And even if you don't know what you're doing, I'm telling you right now, because I remember when I first started 18 years ago, I didn't know what was gonna happen, but you know what? I got all my ducks in a row with everything. And look what happened, it turned into an 18-year-old business. And I was so thankful to do that. And they're here to help. That's what she said, you do your work well, let them do what they do well. Again, that number is 619-782-0186. They're rated with the Better Business Bureau. She does free consultations. The first thing I would do, anyone, small business, startups, and anybody who owns a business, even if you have been around for a while, let's make sure that you're taken care of, because that's the worst thing that can happen as a cease and desist, and how does it say?
Cease and desist.
Yes, and I'm telling you now, if you get that, you're gonna be bummed out that you didn't do what you heard on the show.
Gonna have to call us anyways.
Exactly. No, honestly, folks, doing it right the first time, and having them be able to do it for you, because you know that everything they know, they're on the up and up with this, they know exactly what to do. Again, their number is 619-782-0186. It's ZeccaRoss.com. Okay, that was 15. Okay, that's fast. Now you're gonna be live still, because we are live on Facebook. So we're not live out there, but we're live on Facebook, so I continue to talk. Okay, I hope you're liking it. What I'm
Yeah, it's
doing.
good. I feel better.
Good, like you have to
get really
get,
nervous.
you do,
Okay.
everybody does, and that's why 15, that's why the 30s are nice, because after that first thing, you probably start getting a little bit, yeah, I can do this, you know? But
I'm
come
trying to,
on,
like,
please. What do you do?
In a month.
Oh my
But
God.
my daughter was 2 weeks early.
Oh, so please, I'm just sitting here thinking, oh my God, please.
So I was like, yes, somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks, but
boy, oh
I'm
boy.
trying not to like huff and puff too much into the microphone.
Oh, you're
You
fine.
know.
Just be natural. Try not to get nervous. But that's what I'm going to go with that question there, and hopefully we'll get down to all the others. Okay?
Okay, if we don't, you know what's
yeah.
important.
Yeah. No,
You
we're
talk
going
to
to go down
business owners. You know what they need to hear.
Yeah, I think that they need to hear, what they need to hear is this over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't do things right away sometimes. I think what we'll do is when we're doing the ad, we will also incorporate an ad that has this in it, okay? And I might need a little help on some
Of course.
wordage
Yeah.
there, I don't know yet. When you're working with somebody, okay, and you come in and you have a new business owner, right? And they don't know what they're doing, right? What is your favorite part about what you do?
For somebody who's like just starting a business, I think just the excitement of seeing like, oh, I have this great new idea. You know, I'm gonna do something that I've been really passionate about for a long time, and so helping them get that off the ground is really cool. Even people who are, you know, coming in to take over a business, maybe, everybody, like, when they're doing new stuff.
It's okay.
Okay. You know, when they're,
Keep talking to me.
okay, you know, they're just really excited. That's what I love about business law. That's why I didn't go into criminal or something like that.
Yeah,
I
no, because
like-
you're not so excited.
No, not so excited. I've worked in it. It wasn't for me, you know. I like that there's excitement there. You know, obviously we deal with cases where people own a business and things are not going so well, right? And so there's that side of it, but most of our clients are in that like honeymoon phase with their business.
Right.
You know, and
The
we get to help them
newness
stay
of
there
it.
as long as possible by getting them off on the right foot. So
Yeah.
that's what I like about business.
Yeah, I do too. I think that it's interesting with new businesses that come up, and you know, I think what happens is we get started, and all of a sudden we're like kind of like, oh my God, it's working,
Yeah.
and it's becoming something even more than we thought would happen, right? And then we turn back and go, oh my God, it's been years since I've done that, or whatever, and they need to take care of these things first before, right?
Yeah, and now you know you need to hire an employee or things like that. It's
Oh
like,
gosh, no.
crap. I'm not ready yet.
So welcome back, everyone. Yeah, and we're talking about trademarks right now, and why that's so important. And we're talking with Kendal McElfish, and she's an attorney with Zecca Ross Law Firm, business law firm. Okay, and there's a lot of people out there that have started even little, you know, side gigs, right? I mean, do they need a little something like that? Do they need to have their things trademarked and an LLC too?
Anytime you're operating with like a logo or a slogan, I would recommend a trademark.
Yeah.
But in terms of entity formation, the difference between operating is just, you know, I have just a startup, a side gig, whatever. You're a sole proprietor. And there's tax implications with that, but there's also liability, right? So you as an individual are entirely liable for all of the conduct of the business. Once you form an entity, an LLC is the easiest to form, easiest to maintain. You take any of that liability off you as an individual and you put it only on the business. And so you create a separate, distinct legal identity, and that's really important. So I would always recommend, if you're doing something, you know, to at least get an LLC.
And if you don't know, you just call them and they do a free consultation. They will go over what you need and all of that for you. Again, their number is 619-782-0186. The website is ZeccaRoss.com. I'm going to spell it out for everybody, so because you know I was just thinking at the break that they might not be able to know what that is. So it's Zecca is ZECCA Ross.com. Rated with the Better Business Bureau, they're woman-owned and operated. I also want to go back to where we were. What is the difference between registering a trademark with the Arizona Secretary of State and the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office?
So the difference in the protections that you get are going to be most of the geographical restrictions. So if you register with the state of Arizona, your protections only apply within the state of Arizona. Whereas if you register with the USPTO, you're getting federal protection, so all 50 states. There's a couple of reasons why you would choose one or the other. The first is cost. To file with the state of Arizona, it's about $15. To file with the USPTO, it's $350. And you also
But you're getting federal,
Correct.
protection, man.
You get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
So you do get a lot more protections.
Mhm.
And then the second is the time that it takes to obtain registration. So it only takes a couple of weeks to get your registration with the state of Arizona, but it takes a minimum of 7 months to even hear back from the USPTO. So it's definitely a lot longer process, but if you operate solely within the state of Arizona, you can apply with the Secretary of State with Arizona. If you are selling any goods online and you're dealing with e-commerce, right, which is huge right now, you have that potential to sell to somebody across state lines, and that's when you really want to start thinking about getting that federal protection, that nationwide protection.
Yeah.
Because you don't want somebody buying your product in Michigan, loving it, stealing it for themselves, right, under your same name and the brand that you're building here in Arizona. So you really want to think about, okay, where am I selling? Where are my customers? What potential do I have, right? Maybe right now it's only Arizona, but in a year you want to go nationwide, it'll take 7 months to get registration, so you should start now.
You know, that what I love about this show the most is all of the information that people get here. And where else but on Networking Arizona would you learn something like that? Because, you know, a lot of people, these e-commerce are huge.
Yeah.
And if you, you know, you could get yourself in a little trouble, and unless you don't know what you don't know, and I say that all the time.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's so important to make sure that you are doing it the right way. And what happens if you grow and you all of a sudden, you're moving your business, you're doing what you do best, was you're growing your business, and then the next thing you know is, oops, something happens. This doesn't have to happen if you call them early on.
Correct.
That's what it's all about, getting them on it early. Again, that number to call is 619-782-0186. Rated with the Better Business Bureau. They do free consultations. You can check them out on their website. It's Zecca, ZECCA, Ross.com. Okay, so how does a business owner know if they need state or federal level protection? Will you please?
I
Go
think we
ahead.
went over that,
Yeah.
just depending on where you're operating and where you're conducting your business,
So-
or you hope to conduct your business.
And what are the key factors in determining if my trademark is registerable?
So in order to have a mark that is registerable, it has to be distinct, right? So you can't register toothpaste, right? Colgate can register Colgate, but they don't have the word toothpaste. So it has to be something that's distinct and unique to your business. It can be your slogan, but it can't be generic words. You can have generic words as part of your slogan, but you only get the mark as a whole, right? The whole slogan, right? You can't get Arizona. You can get the pulse of Arizona, but not just Arizona.
Right.
So you have to have something that's distinct, and you also have to have something that is unique enough from anybody else, right? So there's different classes that you can register in. There's 43 classes at both the federal and the state level. So you can have something that's registered in one class. Let's say, for federal, Section 25 is your apparel, so your shirts, your hats, your t-shirts. But somebody could have the same mark in 43, right? They're different classes of goods and services.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be unique to the class of goods and services that you're offering. And a lot of times, I would advise clients that if, to do like your basic word mark, which is just, your plain black text in Times New Roman font, that gives you the most protection, because if you want to change your logo, you have the option to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you register what is more of an image with, typeface font or colors, you're confined to that, and you don't have the ability to rebrand as you want to.
I did mine a long time ago. I don't remember what the rules are or whatever, but my tagline is my trademark,
Mhm.
and that is networking. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
And so can you use a tagline for that?
Yes, yeah. So you would just get it as a whole, right? You'd get that whole
Mhm.
sentence as a whole. You don't own the right to use networking.
No.
Anybody else can use networking in other
Right.
variations, but you can get your slogan, your tagline as a whole.
Right. See? So if I can do it, you can do it.
Absolutely.
Now, again, I want to give out the information because it's so important that maybe it's you or someone that you know. And if you are thinking about starting a business, if you have an e-commerce, oh my God, please, please, please make sure there's too many right there. There could be so many issues that could come up. Please make sure that you are doing it correctly. Again, that phone number is 619-782-0186. The website is Zecca, ZECCA, Ross.com. They do free consultations, rated with the Better Business Bureau. They're women-owned and operated. They've got several locations: Phoenix, they have Glendale, they have San Diego, and also where else in
Our senior attorney is licensed in Brazil as
In
well.
Brazil, and in Brazil. Okay, here we go. Next one is, how does a business owner apply for a trademark, and do they need an attorney?
Absolutely. So at the state level.
That was like the first one that I asked you.
A
So
little
that's
bit,
good.
yeah. So at the state level, you can apply with the Arizona Secretary of State. You do not need an attorney. It's pretty simple. The site walks you through it. You can definitely do it on your own. Like I said, if you're busy and you want us to take something off your plate, that's what you're here for. But it's designed that business owners can do it themselves and protect themselves, right? At the federal level, there's a little bit different. If you are a U.S. citizen, you can apply for your own trademark. If you are not a U.S. citizen, you must hire a U.S. licensed attorney. So there's that little bit of a caveat. The federal process, because it's federal, is a lot more complicated. You can do it on your own, but there's a lot more nuances to the application. There's a lot more that you need to know. And not filling out the form correctly, not choosing the correct class of goods, all that does is delay your application.
Right.
And then if they come back and they ask you a question and you don't answer on time, there's very strict deadlines. If you don't answer the question by the deadline that they give you, then you're back to square one. You lose your money and you have to refile and repay.
I want to just say this, it's all about protecting yourself.
Absolutely.
And again, there are several ways, and I'm sure there are a lot to talk about when it comes to protecting a business. The first thing is, if you have a new business, give them a call, let them talk to you and find out, what you need to do, right, when you first start a business. Getting an LLC is probably the first thing that you can do, which can be very helpful. And especially when it comes to tax season as well. Now, you said that you help in that area, and I just wanted to say, do you have people that help you with your clients with that as well, or?
Yeah, so we have obviously a good understanding of the tax filings that a business needs, but as far as the specific numbers go, I'm not a CPA, but we do have an in-house CPA, so she's able to help with that. We obviously have referrals if you
It's a
wanted to
one-stop
referral.
shop.
We are a one-stop shop. But we're here to help protect your business, to help save you money. So as far as IRS filings, we also do IRS audits. So if you're under audit, that's also an area, the not so happy area that we practice in.
Well, we've been dealing with trademarks today, and if you are just starting up a business, if you own a business and it's relatively new, make sure that you have your trademark. Make sure that you get your LLC. Don't do it on your own. I know a lot of people try and do things on their own. And how many times do you find when people come back to say, yeah, I tried to do this, and then how many times?
Quite a few.
Yeah,
Quite
I
a few,
betcha.
especially at the federal level.
And I'm telling you, especially with that, again, please make sure you're protected. This is what this is all about. Again, their phone number is 619-782-0186. Check them out on the website. It's ZeccaRoss.com.